Well, welcome back. Hope the apocalypse is treating you well, though for some people it might have gotten a little bit less apocalyptic today or yesterday with unrelated events. Either way, I hope you're happy, safe, and doing okay. So, we have two requests this week. The first we have is, can you try and make a 400-point list that includes an executor that kinda works? Right, kinda works. Okay, we'll do our best. So with the executor, it's the title that basically you can have all the tokens, all of them, as long as you gain them. Like, obviously the rule is you're only able to really execute one command a turn of a type. So you can only execute a command dial, a token, or a dial and a token. So the executor is good, but what it does is you can be assigned any number of command tokens. And actually, let's bring this up. Let's bring this up. And behind the camera there, you can see that do build our lists in advance so that we can do it. Now, I believe that the person is talking about the title. Now, if you're talking about the executor class, please come back to me in the comment section. But we can look at the executor here. You can be assigned any number of command tokens of any type instead of a number of command tokens equal to command value. So, now, this means you can have multiple of the same type. But remember, if you're using them as tokens to issue commands, you can only use one a turn. So no spending 17 repair tokens and having a brand new shiny executor. But okay, so then we've got to think about, well, what other uses are there for us? So thinking command prototype, and that's because we've got two, count them, two fleet commands. So, right, so if we're going to be using our tokens for fleet commands, then we don't really want to worry about navigating. There is, in my opinion, the best admiral. I've tried it with Pyatt, he's not too bad, but Gergerod, just never having to care if you've a navigate queued up, you know? And it just, the SSD goes from slowly shuffling forward to break dancing all over your opponent, which is unfortunate for your opponent. Okay, so then let's look at what commands. So throwing a lot of attacks around the place, we want an intensify forward firepower. It's called intensify firepower, but I just add the forward all the time. This is the thing, you're throwing out 3 attacks, so for 1 command token, you're adding 3 extra damage around the place. It just seems good on your turn 1, you just go concentrate fire, and then you've 2 tokens sitting around the place, 1 generated by it being a Star Destroyer, and you just convert the dial. And then at 2 to 3 turns in the game, when you need it, you've got that intensify firepower. And then shields to maximum. So obviously they are pouring everything into the SSD. Must kill the Super Star Destroyer. Let's just make it a little bit harder. And we're going to build some synergy with that, you'll see now in a minute. So then we're going to be silly. We're going to be very silly. Because you could go Captain Brunson. But, she's like once a turn. You could do something else. More sneaky. Let's say onagers are in your meta. So what's more annoying than an SSD that you have to kill? An SSD that dodges out of the way. So we've got Nida. Now, but what if they get in close, you say? Well, then we've got Aiden. So now your evade works close in. But then you say, James, but it's only once. So when you use it twice, it's done. Yeah. Then you add everybody's favorite latest SSD officer, Riva. So after you're declared as a target of an attack, if the defending hull zone has at least one shield, which we might have got back from shields to maximum, you may exhaust this card to ready one's defense token. So that's twice a turn. You're needing that's 2 dice against an onager if you're at extreme range. If you're not at extreme range, you're going to be getting to the grips of that onager soon. And so this is going to be shields to maximum will be empowering your evade. You're losing a contain. You're losing damage control officer. But what you're gaining there is twice a turn you're evading. And you can evade at close range, so you should be trying to kill those APT dice. Normally in a dice pool, they're hitting maybe one double hit. Now, this is the thing, this can go wrong. They can get multiple double hits on black dice. So, Brunson and Damage Control Officer is, against some dice rolls, they're going to be better. But this is, particularly if you have an onager heavy meta, a different way of going about it, and it's making use of your shields to maximum. So you're, a lot of the time you're going to be repairing, you're like maybe 1 or 2 turns, you're building up concentrate fire tokens, and then turns, the rest of the game you just repair. Jerjerrod flies you around. Even if you're not taking damage and the damage is going in the other ships, your shields to maximum is happening. Now, we do want gunnery teams because we want to be able to shoot people in our front. For anti-fighter, we want a little bit of quad laser turrets. We've got decent flak. Leading shots is always lovely. And then the linked turbo laser turrets for annoying squadrons we'd like to murder. Now, Riva also works against squadrons, which means Iden is making Nita's evade work against squadrons, so they're hurting you, but you're hurting them back, and they're not hurting you as much as they can. And you've got the double blue flak, which you're using leading shots under, so you're going to hurt them. Then, so we always want to have shields. We're scared of close in black range dice. Well, to borrow from the Spanish Prime winning list, which admittedly took the combat refit, I think, let's take a Suppression Interdictor. Okay, so what does this do? Firstly, this gives us projection experts. The classic Dr. Dictor approach. So again, pour more shields into the Executor. Riva's doing her job. And you're getting those shields back so you can, even if you just do a dial, so that's 2 to transfer the shields and 3 to bring back up 1 shield. You'll get the other shield back from shields to maximum when you activate next turn. Then we're scared of black dice and those criticals, so we're taking targeting scramblers. So they get in there with their admonition and they get that massive hit, and you go, okay, please reroll. And then for battlefield manipulation, you can either go Gravwell Projector or Gravshift Reroute. I'm kind of leaning towards Gravshift Reroute, just with the objective, with one of the objectives and 2 of the objectives, but if you went a little bit differently, the other one is just as good. And then we want the Interdictor title because we want to refresh those targeting scramblers. And this is making this SSE very hard to kill. Only a command prototype, but it is still throwing out the front arc of an ISD2 multiple times and side arcs to murder for. And it's a lot harder to kill. Should be able to protect the Interdictor. Again, Spanish Primes, an Interdictor, and a Star Destroyer is what won it. probably a little bit of a different build. Okay, so let's look at objectives. So this is, with the red, I think you want surprise attack. And the reason why I think you want surprise attack is it's the best anti-squadron objective out there. Because it's going to throw those anti-squadron raids. They've got something small type of carrier as their flagship. You can predict where it is, and the Executor is going to be able to get to it. You know, it gives you a target to chase down. It removes some of the deployment advantage because they're going to have a lot. Surprise attack can be risky, but I think you're set up to kind of deal with the risk a little bit. Now, with this type of build and what we've done with Riva and all that jazz, I think Asteroid Tactics is fantastic. Helps against Squadrons. I've just punched my desk. Ow. It helps against Squadrons. It means that you can get back that evade token, for example, and it's just, you don't take damage from asteroids. How many times will you take damage from asteroids and things like that with an SSD? And then we're going to go with Salvage Run in blue. Now, I love infested fields, but this is the thing. With the interdictor here, you can move everything. You can rearrange everything how you want. You can, if you need the dust fields to protect the SSD going in against an onager, they're there. Otherwise, you can just move them out of the way. You can land in the middle of all those tokens and just go, come at me, bro. I am a Super Star Destroyer. Do you really want to be here? Do you really want to take these tokens? No, no, you don't. So yeah, this is an Executor fleet that kind of works, maybe. I hope. I can't spell Executor, even though it's in front of me. Let's spell this properly. Yeah, still can't. No, we've saved it now. We've saved it now. Have we? No, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, Executor. So that's the Executor fleet. You have a 2-point bid. It's an interesting one. Okay, okie dokie do. Now, so that was for the Gaming Raven. Okay, now we've also got a comment from Russell. So any chance you can do a vid on using a Hawk Mark II as a carrier and minimum 100 points with bomber focus? Okay, so we're doing bombing with a Hawk. So let us begin. Oh, I've killed the camera. Wait, that was wrong. That's what I need to kill. It's early on a Sunday morning. It has been a long weekend. I do apologize for any randomness with this video. Okay, so we want a Hawk Mark II. Okay, so I think we want a gate. You could do Dudana, but it's just like, you know, if the Hawk's dead, you're dead. This kind of build, you need 2 flotillas, to my mind. Well, with the craziness I'm going to pull, you're going to need 2 flotillas. And the Mark II is so expensive. And a little bit more defensive with Unity, but we will have non-heavy squadrons. So, Unity's giving you that reroll on engaged squadrons. So then the next, if we follow that up and we just pour power into the flak strategy, Ruthless Strategist. Bombers, big hull, throwaway expendable. You can Ruthless to kill those scatter aces. Get in there. Okay, so we're talking about flak. So then let's throw in Draven. Okay, you're up against stuff. If you hit it with your squadrons, they will counter for you. Let's not care. Let's just pour everything in. Okay, so if we're going all flak, maybe they've just one annoying squadron. Linked turbo laser turrets. You know, you may re-roll 1 red dice in your attack pool. Look at what our flak starts with. A red dice. You know? So you're re-rolling that. You're Ruthless Strategizing. So even at long range, you're supporting. And, you know, you can add another red dice with Draven. Okay. So the big butted, or sorry, leading shots, we're going to need a little bit of dice help for the Hawk itself when it shoots. Okay, Remus Antilles. He throws out command tokens. He helps you do whatever you want to do better. He pushes up that squadron a little bit. Now, with the big bombers, we can be a bit slow, so we might just need a bit of a push. So we'll add a flag bridge, and we'll add 1 turn of all fighters follow me. 1 and done. You'll know the right moment. Pop, get those slow things in there. Okay, so we're getting the bombers up there. We want them to do work. We want those blue dice to be effective. Tar and far. We don't want her on the Hawk. She'd be a lot safer on the Hawk. But the thing is, she can enable the Hawk. So if the Hawk is getting blue flak, tar and far. If you're using General Draven to add blue dice, tar and far. And of course, some of our bombers will benefit from that as well. And our fighters when hitting other fighters. And we'll add a comms net because you never know when you'll need a maneuver just to stop your Hawk from flying off the board. Now, we want a little bit more speed, so let's add Wedge. Now, Wedge is going to cloak generic slow squadrons, so again, they move forward and they're in position, so you can get generic squadrons where you want. Either this is bombers getting closer to the target to do the bombing run, or it is your whatever stopping the opposing fighting wing from getting into range. And you'll see we're going to give Wedge lots and lots of targets. Then, because this is bomber heavy, bomber command center. Okay, so then let's talk about our squadrons. So gold, always believe in your gold. It's cheap, it's not heavy, and it's 2 blue bomber dice. So it can re-roll off the bomber command center. It can re-roll off tar and far. It's fast. It's not heavy. It's just so good. It's like an ace got lost. So let's throw in a cheap Y-wing. It's 6 hill for 10 points. Lovely jubbly. So we want something to protect these things. Oh, okay. Let's talk about bombers, remaining bombers. So we want a B-wing. We definitely want a generic B-wing. We could go with Dagger Squadron, but Callus does exist, and we're already kind of vulnerable to him with the other aces we're going to throw in. So, and then lastly, let's add a 4th bomber, because we do want to be able to hit hard the bombing wing. So let's go with 10 numb. Okay. So we have stuff we want to get in range. So we're gonna mix our defensive fighter screen. So we're going standard Biggs and Jan. Okay, they are the essence of keeping stuff alive. The intel is useful for giving Tenum or somebody who you just need 1 more bomber to get to a place. The new intel, which gives them grit, is still good. It's not fantastic, it's no old intel, but it's still good. Okay, so we also want a YT 1300. It gets moved by Wedge, so it gets there, and it's a big sink for Ruthless and for Biggs. Now, I would go with more YTs, 1300s, but I feel like the X-Wings probably are better, because the one thing, you could always use more bombers. You've got the bomber command center. The YTs are not, even with Tor and Fire, going to do all that much damage. X-Wings and Biggs, also getting the bomber command center helps. The bomber command center has greater range than Torrens. So let's say you're up against this that has no squadrons, the X-Wings are going to do more. But we do have that one YT 1300 as the damage soak. You can Biggs onto them. And if they're attacking the YT 1300, that's also fine because you're getting the counter. So either saving the X-Wings by taking the hits, or it's being attacked and doing damage back. And like if you're facing a lot of your own, a lot of counterfire from the squadrons, well then you've got Draven. Okay, so with that, let's look at objectives. So it's realistically, I'm going to avoid most, if not all, of your standard uh, fighter ambush and your superior positions. Now, if no one else in your meta takes those objectives, or takes squadrons, sorry, and you don't think there's anyone that can flip them around, then take them and you will have a field day. But what they can do is they can let a Sloan fleet or something like that mess with you. However, Sloan fleet does not really make great use of precision strike. But you have to be careful here. Precision strike, you've got a lot of bombers, but what you do not do is let somebody ram your hawk and then just flip crit, flip crit, flip crit, flip crit, flip crit. I blew up a hawk on turn 4 who had an injured crew get flipped 5 times, and its agate hawk had no tokens left by the end of turn 3. So you cannot let people ram your hawk. Cannot let people APT your hawk. So if you've got a demo or an admo, you need to use those flotillas and those squadrons to block. It can't be flipped by Sloan too easily, which is why I'm including it. But you do need to be careful with this objective. Then we're going Asteroid Tactics and we're going Infested Fields. Okay? Like, this is the thing. You can use, in Infested Fields, you can just pick up the points. In Asteroid Tactics, Jan can get tokens back. The Hawk can get tokens back. You can burn a scatter and land a flotilla. But yeah, so I hope everyone's having a lovely time. Like, click and subscribe if you want. But main thing is, if you have a list you want to do, just drop it in the comments and we'll put one together for you next week. All right, have a lovely day.